Morning. Right, we're going to start by talking about the events of day two, which threw up the most fantastic game so far, without doubt. The game between Portugal and Spain. It was a great advert for World Cup football. Spain, the former champions, went into this tournament in total disarray. They faced the biggest crisis ever in Spanish football history. 2 days before the tournament, Lopetegui, the Spanish coach, announced that he was to become the manager of Real Madrid. This so infuriated the Spanish FA. Its head said he only was notified of this development 5 minutes before it was announced. I think there was hurt. They felt disrespected and took immediate action, and Lopetegui was fired. It was so surreal. I mean, people couldn't believe that this had happened to one of the biggest favourites in this tournament. So, brought in was one of the stalwarts of Spanish football, Fernando Hierro, well respected, sporting director at the time, and was thrusted in order to bring unity and rekindle the team that had performed and dominated world football from 2008 to 2012. Spain, they played, I mean, everyone knew how the Spanish dominated through that period. It was a possession-based game which tired out their opponents, and it was so effective that it was something that we'd never seen before from the Spanish side. There are players that are still, who would still be prominent now. You'd have Busquets, you'd have David Silva, but more importantly, you'd have Andres Iniesta, who scored the winning goal at the 2010 finals. Iniesta was appearing in his fourth World Cup. Also, for the team up front, they hadn't been consistent in terms. Neither of their strikers have been consistent in providing the goals that were expected to bring the trophy for the Spanish. Diego Costa, the striker from Atletico Madrid, he'd scored a mere 7 times in 20 appearances. I think in 126 minutes at the last World Cup, he didn't manage a single shot on target. So it was going to be interesting whether they could utilise his talents, because that's what he felt at the last tournament, that they didn't utilise his talents, which obviously his strengths that he played to. So it was going to be such a really, really testing time. But many were hopeful. In regards to opponents, Portugal, the current European champions and 2-time semi-finalists of 1966 and 2006. They'd come into this tournament on the back of losing only once since the European Championship finals, and that was without an injured Ronaldo, and it was the second time that they'd lost, and incidentally without injured Ronaldo. Santos, who guided Greece to his home country to the quarterfinals in 2012, took over Portugal in 2014, I believe, and and the rest is history. I mean, traditionally Portugal were always flamboyant, like freewheeling, but he instilled the will to win. He was more pragmatic. It was a kind of he instilled. How would you say? There was it was more strongly defense-minded. The strength came from their ability to make them more difficult to beat. And this is why they, through qualifying, after losing the first game, they won every single one of their following games, scoring more than 30 goals and conceding 2 goals. Ronaldo and Silva scored, I think between them they scored about 24 goals. So it was just on the go. I mean, there could be an over-reliance on Ronaldo, who obviously is the greatest player in Portuguese history, surpassing that of Eusebio, who was one of the greats himself. Ronaldo, in over 150 games, he has scored about 81 goals. But interestingly, he'd only scored 3 goals at 3 of the previous 3 World Cups, one at each tournament. So I mean, and also so he was the one that looked to if they were to really succeed at this tournament. Other important players for Portugal were Pepe, of course, in defence. So it was. I mean, Spain, the 2 Iberian nations had they played at the Euros in 2004. I think that was the only time Portugal have ever beaten Spain competitively. But apart from that hiccup for Spain, they've had the majority of success over their rivals. So it was. I mean, it was just. I mean, interestingly, Santos had discarded 10 of the players that performed at the Euros in France. So it'd be something completely new. They performed admirably at the 2017 Confederations last year, where they lost to Chile on penalties. But it was easily the most. It was a game that the whole world looked forward to, and it was definitely going to live up to expectations. I mean, it got off to now we should talk about the game now. I've been talking so much background. Okay, it was a fantastic start from Portugal. They were bright and they were rewarded within 3 minutes. Ronaldo stepping over the ball and he went over the challenge of Nacho. Stepped up as usual. I think De Gea tried to put him off, but he just kept his composure and struck his team into lead 1-0. I mean, David Silva skied over after 10 minutes, and so the game was now full into its mode and everything. So we were just knew from this moment onwards it would be a game that we wouldn't we wouldn't forget. Then it was a case, I mean, Spain had possessions for long spells, and then Silva again on about 20 minutes, and then Portugal was swift on attacks themselves, and then finally there was a fantastic ball from Busquets, chested by Costa, maybe elbowing Pepe in the process, brought the ball down. A sublime finish. It was, and then brought the ball down and just took it forward, went back, then forward, and then with one big smash of the right foot, he the ball just went straight into the bottom hand corner. Now we really had a game on our hand. I mean, then Spain, moments later, they thought they had the lead again, and there was Isco with a fantastic, Spain's best player in fact, Isco. He had a fantastic shot, rifled, hit the crossbar, went on the line, didn't quite go over, but it was just unbelievable now from end to end. Like Portugal looked like they were struggling, and Iniesta almost put Spain like 2-1 ahead, a touch, but it just went past the post. And as we moved into as we moved towards half time, and then uncharacteristically, I mean, one of the best goalkeepers of the world, De Gea, lets a shot from Ronaldo, bread and butter stuff, just slipped through his fingers and into the net. Like Portugal once again in front, and Spain basically possibly on their way to only their first defeat since they lost to Italy in the Euros at 2016. It was just fantastic from end to end. The second half started not as fluent, quite scrappy, but within 10 minutes, like Costa gets onto the end of a headed ball across goal from Busquets, and 2-2. It's now, things were really, really, really rolling now. Tantalising, on a knife edge. And then the goal of the game, Nacho basically making up for his penalty error earlier on in the game. He just crushed it, sliced it, the technique to get it right, hard and low, into the corner, off the post. It was fantastic. Portugal, I don't know, had to lift themselves as Spain were looking rampant, totally rampant. I mean, 70 minutes, you had Costa almost in for a hat-trick for a third. I mean, it was just getting like that. I mean, then there was Quaresma. I think he tried the spectacular, but I think it was his substitute. Yeah, he came on and he tried the spectacular, but it didn't work. It was a good effort. And then Spain were keeping possession, stroking the ball about. There were signs of Portugal like getting frustrated. And yeah, it was very much in evidence. And then Ramos, our friend, he fouls Ronaldo on the box, and then yeah, it was on a knife edge. 87 minutes. Ronaldo, who had skied in tournaments, he'd skied over 44. He hadn't scored from a single free kick in 44 attempts. This is the 45th, and probably it was just going to happen, and then he just curled it into the corner. I mean, and that was it. The whole, I mean, even fans who have, I mean, even just casual, I mean, even the Spanish, I mean, it was just, it was, I mean, it was a momentous occasion that you just knew that he was going to score. These are the players, what make these players a class above all the others at these important times when they just produce it. And it was the 51st hat-trick of Ronaldo's career, interestingly, the 51st hat-trick in the history of the World Cup. And Portugal were on Portugal were on level terms, and yeah, and the game had been brought to an end. I mean, Quaresma almost thought he'd won it, but a superb sliding tackle saved the day for Spain, and they shared the spoils in what was just, yeah, it was just a fantastic game, and we just hope we can have many more games such as this. Wow.